excited about tonight. I have live Anastacia, Franchesca, and Sherri Lewis. And so basically, Life on Top is an organization I started because I was tired of seeing people live lives that they hated. They woke up every day just hating what they did, and they did it every single day, and they were making no steps to change it. So I created Life on Top, and what we're going to do is talk, have a little discussion about conquering fear, chasing purpose, and just finding passion in what you do. And as we're going into 2016, I just really hope and pray that anything and everything that is said here helps all of us and you move forward to doing it, what it is you want to do, and living the abundant life that is promised. Because there's an abundant life that we all can have and we can all tap into, and we need to just do it. So as you're watching, if you have questions, feel free to type them in and we'll try to get to them. And I just pray that you enjoy these stories of these wonderful, amazing ladies, and that it's going to be amazing. So we're going to start, and I would love for all of you to just give like 2-3 minutes of your story to chasing passion or conquering fear, just like 2 to 3 minutes about who you are. And we're going to start with Sherri.
Okay. I'm Sherri Lewis. I am a medical doctor turned Christian fiction author turned missionary to Africa. And it's a funny story because I hated being a doctor, was miserable, didn't want to do it, and for many years just was unhappy with life. And so just God started speaking to me in a lot of different ways and just letting me know you can live your dreams, you can live an amazing life that you're happy with. And finally I took courage. I quit my job as a doctor. He didn't give me the direction for what was next. It was just like, quit and then I'll tell you what to do. And I had to use a lot of faith and a lot of trust, and I did. I quit my job, and then a few years later, not even a few years later, the next year, I went over to Cameroon for the first time to visit, fell in love with the people, with the culture, just with everything that was there. And then the ministry school that I was graduating from, I just started that same ministry school there in Cameroon. And we are now in our 6th year. We've graduated 5 classes of radical revivalists, and every day I'm happy. Every day I feel alive. Every day I just feel like life is the most amazing thing. I'm impacting lives. I am enjoying life to the fullest. My life is so much simpler and more peaceful in Africa. And so it's a crazy story of doctor turned missionary, but it's God's story for my life, and I am incredibly happy.
That's amazing.
Awesome. Yeah. Wow.
Anastacia.
What was my go? Okay. Hello. Anastacia Johnson. Similarly to Sherri, I was in school and working full-time. I was a seminary student when God started to speak to me about leaving seminary, quitting my job, and becoming a kindergarten teacher. And my response is, well, no, God, because I'm supposed to be great. I can't be teaching little children. That's not great. And I know that sounds horrible, but that was where my mind was. But I quit my job, I quit school, and God, unlike Sherri, gave me very specific direction and told me exactly what was going to happen. And I didn't believe that that was going to happen, but it did. So 5 years later, I am now a kindergarten teacher, and I live in Abu Dhabi, where I teach English to local Emirati students. This is by far the best experience I've ever had in my life. I now know that I am supposed to be an educator for the rest of my life, impacting education not only across the world, but also back here in the United States. I learned a lot about what education can look like and what it should look like, and I am determined to bring the kingdom of God to the education system. And I would not have learned that if not for God pushing me out of what I thought was ministry into what He really had for me in terms of ministry.
Awesome. Amazing. Live music? No.
Like, whoa, I'm inspired already. Hi everybody, I'm Fly Music. I'm so excited to be on this panel, first of all, with these amazing women. My story's similar in a sense. I was an educator. I have a passion for young people, and I love to see young people be what God called them to be. And I don't think there is lost young people. I think that there are young people that are misguided, and so I think they just need awakening from God. And so I was teaching school out of college. My life is kind of weird because I went to college for marketing and fashion, And God was like, teach. When I was getting to graduate, I was working for Macy's, going to be a buyer for Macy's, going to make a lot of money. And God said, teach school. I'm like, I don't even have a degree in education. And God opened up a door and gave me favor to get into the school system and start working with young people, not knowing that 3 to 4 years later, he would ask me to quit teaching to pursue my passion of the arts, which was in music, motivational speaking for young people, and a nonprofit for young girls. And so all my experience in the classroom gave me a lot of statistics and research. Basically, it was hands-on research on how to be effective when it comes to reaching young people through my music, through speaking, and through my nonprofit organization, Fly Spirit. And so for the last 4 years, I've been living on faith. I haven't had a 9 to 5 in 4 years. And so I basically do my passion. I do music, I do motivational speaking for young people, and I run my nonprofit. So, but I love what I do. I don't have the salary that I had with teaching yet, but every day I feel like I'm so prosperous. So because I am able to impact young people with the love of Jesus. And so that's the most important thing, whether it's through me rapping or whether it's through me speaking. So I love what I do. It's my passion, it's my purpose.
And we are talking with these 3 women. They just share their story. And if you do have questions, you can type them in on Periscope and we'll try to get to them. But right now we're going to just start with a few questions, and I'm going to throw them out for you guys. And one of the questions that we received is, what does living life on top look like for you? I think that you guys kind of already answered that question, but if you have anything to add, living life on top, living the abundant life, what does that mean to you? Not look like, what does it mean to you? And you can start with whoever wants to start.
For me, it's just refusing to live a normal life and refusing to live any kind of life that doesn't make me happy. And it also means just chasing after God. I think that was a common theme in everything that all of us said was, God said this and I did this. God said this and I did this. And if I don't say anything else tonight, I think that's the most important thing is, if you're going to live life on top, you have to have that relationship with God. You've got to be able to hear the voice of God and trust that he's good and that he loves you and that whatever he directs you into is going to be amazing. Like sometimes we think, if God said it, I'm going to be miserable, I'm going to be suffering for the kingdom. And that's just so opposite of the truth. Like anything that he sends you into is going to be the thing that makes you most alive. And so life on top to me is listening to the voice of God with expectation, believing in his goodness, and just zooming into this amazing adventure where life is better than you could have ever dreamed or expected or made up yourself because you're following him.
And I'd like to add, I was thinking about this question earlier, and I also think that life on top means really there is no top, there is no ceiling, there is no roof on your capacity. There's no roof or no ceiling on what God can do in your life. There's no limit to where you can go, how many people you can impact, and just your effect in the world and your happiness in the world. And there's just no limit. So I think sometimes we think that there's a place that we have to arrive, but really your entire walk, your entire journey, and everything that you do from whenever you wake up to whenever you lay down is a step, or at least can be a step to living that life on top. And when you reach whatever your goal is for 2016, then there'll be another threshold that God can take you to. And so I think it's important to remember that life on top there is no top. It's always higher, always more, always better, always greater, right? With the Lord.
No, I think, I agree with both of these ladies right here. I would definitely say, adding to what they said, is that life on top is definitely embracing the journey with God, because it's a journey and it's not a destination. And so you got to understand, sometimes we can be so stuck on a vision that if the vision gets altered, we feel doomed. It's like, oh my God, my life is hectic now. Oh my God, I'm a failure. Oh my God, did I miss God? And here's the thing, something I was listening to Joyce Myers this morning, and she was saying that in God's economy, you can never miss him because he always redeems time. It's like he don't need us to, say for instance, I mapped out this year and I said by June I was going to do this and by September I was going to do this, and those are great, and a lot of times those benchmarks are very helpful in you pursuing and achieving purpose. But if it doesn't happen and God switches around what you originally thought he wanted you to do not get hopeless. Because the thing about God is he's like GPS. He always knows how to get you where he needs you to be. And so I think a lot of times we can be too hard on ourselves, and we have to understand, even when you fail, like say for instance God did tell you to do something and it made it go the way you wanted it to go, fell into success, like fell forward, like understand that everybody has failed. Failure is not the ultimate loss. The ultimate loss is quitting. And so you just have to know that, like, in Christ, I always win. Even when I fail, I win because I'm failing in the right direction. And so you have to trust God. That's where you have to trust God, literally, like you were saying earlier. Like, you just have to say, God, I know that ultimately because I'm your child and I'm in you, my life is already taken care of because you're good. And if you're good, even when I feel like I'm failing, all things work together for the good of those, you know what I mean? So you have to stand on that and know that, okay, this year wasn't the greatest. Does that mean my life is a failure? No, that means that whatever is happening, God is going to use that for the next level, whatever that means. So trusting God and understanding that life is a journey. It's not just a destination.
Yeah. I think one thing that I just wanted to add is that I was thinking as these women were talking, is that I think sometimes we look at people and we say, oh, they're the lucky ones, or they're the blessed ones, or they're the called ones, or whatever. And in my reality, we're all everyday people. Like, we're all normal people. We wake up every day. We do the same things that everybody else does. Essentially, a doctor, a school teacher. You know what I mean? Like, we're all everyday people, and it doesn't mean because these women made a choice to live their lives on top, that's why they're living that way. And so I just wanted to add that, because I think sometimes we get into this place of, oh, they're just lucky. Not everybody gets their cards dealt that way, or not everybody's able to live their passion. And I just don't think that's true. So I just wanted to add that. The next question is, has fear ever gotten in the way of you going after your passion? And if so, how did you conquer it? Whoever wants to answer first.
I'll answer because I don't know. I might be the only person who says no. No. I don't want to curse, but I'm the type of person who does what I want to do, like, period. And so it was never fear that kept me or that made me hesitant to do what God was asking me to do. It was, I don't want to do this. I wasn't afraid of doing it. It was, I don't want to do that. I feel like that's dumb, so I'm not doing that. So fear has never been a factor in that area of my life. Now, there are other areas like relationships where I'm just petrified every day, honestly. But in terms of going after my vision and my dreams and what I now am convinced that God has put in my life, I'm never afraid of it because I want to win. And I feel like the only way to do that is, even if it takes me to, I liken myself to Jonah all the time. Me being, thrown in the belly of the beast. Jonah wasn't scared to go. He just didn't want to go to Nineveh. He felt like Nineveh was dumb. So, like, even if it takes me being thrown in the belly of the beast, this is like, all right, I'll go. But it's not, it's not fear. It's usually rebellion that keeps me from doing the will of the Lord.
Yeah. I think for me, I think I'm approached by fear daily. And daily, fear knocks at the door. But it's a different thing to be afraid and to live afraid. And so I make a decision every day to jump over fear. But it's like any other temptation. It's going to come. You know what I mean? It's going to come. It's going to present itself. And it may present itself, like Stage said, in different areas of your life. Yeah. With me in purpose, it does come, especially when I left a nice salary. And the first thing you're thinking about, and I'm sure you left a nice salary, doctor. Teachers make good money, but it's a whole other level. Yeah. You work in the medical field. So, you're thinking, like, how am I going to eat? How am I going to survive? How am I going to pay my bills? So that's a fear that will knock. But then it goes back to what I was saying a moment ago, which was trusting God. When I left teaching, I had $0. I didn't have a savings. I didn't have a wealth number. I had nothing. I had $0. And God just simply provided for me every day. Whether it was, God, I need today. it'll always miraculously show up without me having to beg or anything like that. I just continue to do purpose. And sometimes I would go somewhere and didn't know how I was going to get back home, but it was always a way. And so I just stayed faithful to what he told me to do, and in the meantime, he provided. And so I think when fear knocks on the door, you just do it afraid. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, all right, I feel fear, but that's the emotion that I have authority over. I have authority over my emotions, so I don't let my emotions dictate what I do. So even though I'm afraid, I do it afraid, you know? And so, but everybody feels fear in some capacity of their life. It's now, what do you do with it? Do you let fear dominate you, or do you dominate fear? So.
I'm the same way. I mean, I do it afraid, and people are like, wait a minute, you jumped on a plane and shipped all your stuff to Africa and you were scared? Yeah, I'm still scared all the time, you know? And so you do it afraid. It was a big deal leaving a doctor's salary to live on donations. And I just said to God, you have to show me who you are as Jehovah Jireh. I need a revelation of that aspect of your character. And I feel like anything that we're afraid of, God will reveal that aspect of his character that we need to make it through that situation. Because it's a matter of doing it afraid and being willing to do it no matter what. I don't want people to look at me and say, oh, well, you have great courage. I would never do that. No, I don't have great courage. I just make up my mind I'm going to obey God and that he's good. Again, that is like my fallback. He is good. He's going to take care of me. And you know, once you jump, as you said before, there's always different levels. So now he's expanding things. We're about to buy land. We're about to get a bigger building. We're about to do new projects. And it's like, oh, but then I just remember the testimonies of what he's already done. Like, I have been now 7-8 years with no salary, and I've never ever lacked. I have not lacked one thing. And in fact, I still get to go to the beach. I still get to go shopping. I still get to enjoy life. And so just trusting him and saying, okay, you did this before, so you're going to do this again. You did this before, and just relying on the testimony and refusing to answer the door when fear knocks, and just saying, I have no fear. I refuse to partner with fear. God, I'm going to trust you because you're good. And you're faithful. I don't know. I don't want to ever not do something that I was supposed to do or that I could have done because of fear. That's so lame. That's
You're right. You're right.
Okay, so the next question, which I think some of you guys kind of addressed in your intros, but how did you find your purpose/passion? Was it that you woke up one day and just heard the Lord, or was there a process? And how did you find it? How did you get there? I feel like that's a question that a lot of people ask and try to figure out.
Well, I would definitely say doing what he told you to do today, because and in that, I almost feel like God doesn't reveal the ultimate to us at one time, a lot of times. Sometimes he does, and sometimes he doesn't. And so, like when he told me just to go teach, I was set. I was like, okay, I'm gonna teach. All right, I liked it. And then I was like, I'm gonna be a principal. I had I'm gonna get this degree so I get that raise. And I had like planned my life. And then in teaching, he was like, I lost a desire for it. And then he gave me a desire to do entertainment and motivational speaking and nonprofit. And I was like, okay. And it was birthed out of that last place of obedience. And then in this place of obedience, he's birthing something new now. You know, so it's like you go along with God, because then he'll reveal to you your purpose as you go. But also don't be afraid of those visions he showed you as a kid, or like right now I'm revisiting a passion I had for fashion design. I have a degree in fashion, but now that's just now coming back. You know, and so sometimes God will give you a vision of it, an inkling of it, and then he won't pick it back up till later. And it's like, dang, I remember when I was a kid, I said, like I was looking at your status this morning, you said something about what you're doing now, activism, like years ago, and you didn't think about it, but now you're like, I'm doing it. And you look up and you're actually doing it because you're just following, you're staying in your relationship with God. And really quickly, 3 questions I always ask people when you're discovering your purpose. I say, what would you do if money wasn't an option? Like if I didn't have any bills, what would I wake up every day and do? What's that strong desire? Like that's like that helps you. And another thing is like, if you could solve one problem on earth, what would it be and why? Like if you only got one, what's that thing that pisses you off in a sense? Like I hate when people feel insecure, and that's why I work with so many young girls. You know, I hate to walk in a room and I see somebody insecure, not loving themselves. That angers me. You know, and then what's that thing? And then the third one, it slipped my mind already, but when it comes back, I'll give it to you. But those, I wrote that in my last book. But those are the three things, three questions that helps you discover your purpose. You know, so
I think God has to make me uncomfortable because I like control. I'm good. Like, and once I have, I'm very ambitious, and I'm very just driven, and so I like to map out my 3-year plan and my 5-year plan and my 10, and then within that I have little mini plans, and I have journals and I have schedules. Like, it's just, I'm very calculated, and so God has to really ruffle my feathers in order for me to get outside of what I've planned.
Wow.
And so twice now he had to just frustration that has just come from nowhere. I just wake up, I'm mad. Like, I'm just mad, I gotta get out of here. Like, where are you going? I don't know. I gotta get out of here. And so that happened to me the first time when I was in seminary, and I was a very excellent student. Like, I was doing well. There was no reason for me to leave. I just was going to school like, this blows. And I don't know why this blows, because I asked to be here. I wrote the letter. I had people write letters for me. I took tests. I gave y'all coins. Like, I was a full and active participant in where I am right now, and now I'm mad about it. But it was God, like, just saying, you got what you needed from there. Shroom on.
Yeah.
And so I shroomed into the classroom and became a kindergarten teacher. And then maybe like 2 years ago, I started feeling just that itch again, like, okay, I gotta get out of here, and I didn't know where I was going. I knew that the United States wasn't it, though. I kept telling people, I'm gonna get out of these states, I don't know where I'm going, but I'm gonna get gone. And so then I applied to teach in the Middle East, and I got it, and within a few months I was gone. But it started with a frustration in me, and just irritation that I couldn't really place. And so the first question I asked God was like, okay, am I being like ungrateful in some way? Am I being discontent, by something that's happening with me? And then the more I sought God and really asked him, he's just like, you know how you are. I gotta make you upset. Otherwise you're not going nowhere, because you'll be good. Like, I'm so good that you'll stay right here and choose this good over the great that I have for you. Mm-hmm. And so, that's how God deals with me, with just messing up my space, and I can't identify why until I come to him for the answers. And then he always gives them. And then I have to say, okay, let's do it.
Yeah, that's good.
For me, the key is intimacy. Like, one of the greatest treasure of my life is having an intimate relationship with God, being able to hear his voice, just being able to be close to him, and always, not always, because nobody always knows what he's saying, but as much as possible, just knowing what's on his heart, knowing what he's saying, knowing what he's doing. So even in making this move, and then in every move that we make as we grow, as we expand in different directions, it's just being able to just listen, to be able to hear him, to be able to be intimate with him, to know his heart, and to just be so close to him, and just to be so in love with him that whatever he says, I'll do. If it's going out in the bush, if it's, wherever it is, whatever it is, it's just that deep, deep love. His love directs me. His love guides me. I like to say I live by the whispers. Like, we have this sweet relationship where I want to be so broken and so submitted and so tender before him that all he has to do is whisper sweetly in my ear, and I'm going in the direction of what he says. So I love dreaming with him. I think a lot of people get into this thing of, I'm just going to wait to hear the will of God. And I think that's just too rigid. Like, we're not robots, Why don't you dream with him? Why don't you have a conversation? Hey, I love this. I would love to do this. And, so let's dream with God about the vision for our lives. And then a lot of what happened with me was just divine providence, just him writing an amazing story and me just going in the direction of the story that he was writing. Because if you had asked me 6 years ago, I would have never said that I would have a school in Cameroon. Yeah. But now here I am, and he just orchestrated the whole thing divinely. So it's just about being intimately connected, listening to the whispers, obeying, and just being so head over heels in love that whatever he says, you just do it. Trusting, again, in his goodness.
That's good.
Yes. So we're going to do a really quick commercial break because I'm asking a couple of questions. Really, really quickly, if you guys could give your name again, and if you have a website, which you do, because people are asking me about your book that you mentioned. And then there was another question, but I'm going to let you guys just say your name and your website.
Okay.
Pay attention.
So I'm Sherri Lewis, And my website is, I have two of them, www.sherrilewis.com, SherriLewis.com, and that's my author page with all my novels. I write Christian fiction. And then the page for the school is www.bacameroon, CAMEROON.com.
Okay. I'm Anastasia Franchesca, and my website is anastasiafranchesca.com. ANASTACIAFRANCHESCA.com.
Yeah, she's typing them. Okay.
Awesome. I'm Fly Musiq, and my websites are flymusiq.com, and it's FLYMUSIQ.com, and my nonprofit is flyspirit.org, and it's FLYSPIRIT.org.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Okay, so another question that we had from Katia. It was more like a statement, but she was saying sometimes I don't know when it's me and when it's God. She doesn't know how. Sometimes she doesn't know when to differentiate, like when it's God telling her to follow something and when it's herself. So if anybody can speak to that, maybe thoughts.
Okay. Two answers to that. I mean, just because of who I am and what I do, I believe in the Holy Spirit. I believe in the prophetic, and so a lot of what happened in my life was confirmed with prophetic words. I always believe in living in a prophetic community. The church that I associate with myself with, the friends that I have, everyone should be able to hear from God and speak into my life. So if I'm hearing something from God, then I've got my friends that are saying, I was praying for you the other day and God said this and God said that. And so that's a big thing for me. The other thing is, again, that crippling fear of, is this you? Is this me? Is this you? Is this me? It's not, he doesn't punish you. If you go in the wrong direction, he doesn't hit you or turn his back.
Yeah.
He'll just say, hey, boo, that's not it. Come on, let's go this way. He'll just redirect you. He's sweet. He's nice like that. So if you're hearing yourself and it's not him, just start moving in that direction. If it's not him, he'll back you up and have you go the right way.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, there's not really much to add to that. That's what I was going to say. Now, in my Anastasia way, I would say I don't be knowing either. I just do whatever I hear, and either it's right or wrong, and I don't punish myself for being wrong. It's just, okay, I missed it.
Yeah.
Then let's go this way.
Yeah.
And that's how I live.
Yeah,
That's good.
I agree. And I know I'm not on the panel, but I do have something to add. I think that earlier this week, God had to remind me, because I really hate rejection, I really hate no's, and God had to remind me that a no is just a movement into the right direction. Like, no, that's not it. Okay, so I'm moving you into the right direction with my no.
Yes.
If that person says no, that's not the right person. I'm just moving you to the right person. So I think sometimes we have to change the way we get no's, or we get rejection, or we hit a wall. It's not that you're wrong or you're stupid or whatever. It's just, okay, that's not it, and I'm moving you into the right direction. So just wanted to add that. So our next question, how do you get others invested in your dream?
Jesus is talking to me about this right now in my life. I believe one of the ways you get people invested in your dream is you sow into other people. The Bible is a big, it tells us simple, seed time and harvest. One thing God has me doing right now is holding me accountable for who I sow into. Because a lot of times we want people to sow into us. It's a balance to that. And you get what you get what you sow. So right now I'm in a place where I'm sowing into other people's books. I'm sowing into other people's nonprofit. I'm sowing into other people's. People call me. I'm really blessed that people seek me for advice about starting businesses or writing books or different things like that. I always make myself available.
You do.
Why? Because that's a seed. Because I never know when I'm going to be in that same. I need that same support. And so I think, and that's why I always find the support because I'm always showing support. And so if you stay in that place of servanthood and giving and sowing into other people, then God will. He cannot. He said, to the end of the time, to the end of the earth, seed time and harvest will remain. And so whatever you sow, you shall reap. So if you sow support, you're gonna reap support. Like if you sow friendship, the Bible says you're gonna reap friendship. So. If you want more support, sow support, and then you'll be surprised how God allows you to reap that as well.
I think another way is passion. Like if somebody sits down with you and they ask you, what are you doing? Or if you're having a meeting where you're looking for someone to invest, just be passionate. I mean, be in love with what you do and love what you do what you love. And it's infectious. I mean, when I talk about my school, when I talk about my kids, you have to shut me up, you know? I mean, I'm very passionate about what I'm doing. I'm just so alive and so in love with it. And I think when people see that you believe in what you do, and when you're committed to a great cause, and when it's a God cause, it's got to be a great cause, they automatically want to become a part of it, and they want to sow into it. They want to invest. They want to see the dreams on God's heart for your life come to pass. So that's a huge one for me, just being passionate about it. And then living in community is huge for me. Like, something happened 2 weeks ago that I could still cry about if I talk about it too much. We were getting ready to buy this land, and we didn't have any money. You know, we haven't had money for most of what we do, and it just comes. But this was like a huge amount that we needed all at one time, and I was like, I don't know where we're going to get this. I don't know where we're going to get this. And my pastor and his wife called me up on the stage during offering, and they said, we're going to buy your land. Oh my God, I lost it. Wow. And it was because they've seen my passion, they've seen my dedication, they believe in what I'm doing. They came over last year and they saw just an amazing thing, just like, oh wow, you've built this beautiful thing, like you've come home and you've talked about it, but this is amazing. And they fell in love with the vision and decided to support it. So I think just being passionate and building something beautiful that people want to support and give to.
That's good. I'll just add that I'm going to talk about the Black community. There's a lot of rhetoric in the Black community around haters and around people that that aren't your supporters, and those people exist. But in order for you to get people invested in what you're doing, you have to take the risk of being hurt. You have to take the risk of being rejected. You have to take the risk of being hated on in order to start pushing the vision and pushing whatever mission that God has called you to do. And so I think it's important to be open. Like, sometimes we hold on to dreams for like ever because we're afraid to share them, because we think that maybe someone will say that it's stupid, or that's already been done, or how you gonna do it better than them, or who the hell are you and why should I listen to you? And your response has to be, I am whoever, and this is what the Most High has called me to do. And you might have to wiggle your neck just a little bit, don't be offensive, but you have to be sure, and you have to take whatever negative feedback you might get along with the positive and just keep pushing. And I think if we learn how to let go of the negative that does actually exist and just keep pushing until we get the feedback and the results that we're looking for, then people will become more invested, because they'll see that you're grinding and you're pushing and you're progressing past all of that.
Love it. Okay. So next question is, has your journey to your passion / purpose affected your relationships?
Oh, girl.
And how do you balance that?
I kind of want to talk about it.
You don't want to talk about it? You don't have to.
I want to talk about it. Okay, I'm going to look into the camera. It has been my experience, not everyone's, but it has been my experience that the more I go after purpose, initially I felt like I was losing. And I think this was even more devastating for me because I already hold fear in the area of relationships. So when what I feared began to happen, and I was losing relationships, boyfriends and friends and people that I thought was going to ride for me, and they weren't my haters, they just couldn't go where I was going, and I wanted to take them, but they couldn't go. Like, I felt like my heart was breaking, like just crushed and stomped on and swept, and then it just was a mess down the drain. So that whole process was extremely just traumatic for me, like just losing people and then you kind of know from the beginning, like, they ain't gonna be able to go, but you still want them to go anyway, So that was hard for me. But the reason why I'm able to kind of be my regular sarcastic self about it is because the more I push for purpose, the more God began to surround me with people that could go where I was going. So like, I met Fly after I decided that I was going to be a boss in the education and the leadership world. I also met Tasha in that kind of transitional context, you know. And so these are people that I know that even if we're not always together in the same city or in the same, you know, whatever, but I know that I can count on them, and I know that they will always be my support. And so, but I had to lose things that were extremely valuable and people that were extremely valuable in order for that to happen. So I just want to encourage, especially women that are holding on to some joker that you cannot go with. Like, God has a plan for him, and he's amazing. And yes, but if you know in your heart of hearts that the Lord has a call in your life, and this man cannot take you where you need to go, it would behoove you, and I've done this, I've experienced this pain twice now. It would behoove you to just let it go and pursue the things that God has for you, because you will not lose. And I can say confidently that God will send, when the time is right, a leader to take you exactly where you're supposed to go, but you have to let. And I used to hate when women said stuff like this. I'd be like, not my man. The Lord is going to do a work. And he might. But I'm just saying, it'll probably be best for you to just move without him.
Same here. You know, when I first, 2011 is when God told me to quit teaching 4 years ago. And I was in the same month that God told me to teach. I ended a very, very serious relationship that I really loved him. He really loved me. And we actually cried together when we broke up, because it was almost like, why are we breaking up? But we just, he couldn't, he didn't have the faith to walk in this place of fear that I had to face every day. And we was at the crossroad, like either get married or let go. And I don't think he had that faith at the time to marry somebody who was leaving stability. And so we broke up, and I was single for like the next 3 years. And I married my purpose. I married Jesus. I married that, and I stayed focused on that. And so God revealed to me someone else who understood and never asked me to compromise my purpose. And so you want to surround yourself around people that won't get you to compromise your purpose. And I think Sherri said it too. You know, she surrounds herself around people that are going to confirm the Holy Spirit to her and that are going to push her towards purpose. Same thing with me. I have friends from my childhood that I love and adore, but they can't speak into certain places of me. I love when we hang out, but I don't allow them to speak into certain places of me because they don't get it. You know, it's like, you know, I have family that don't get it. You know, they like, why don't you just go back to teaching? You'll make this much money and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, but that's not what God told me to do. And so I have to know who to let speak into that, for lack of a better phrase, holies of me, and who not, you know, and not receive it. But there's no beef, you know, hey, I love you, but you're not, you know, not supposed to speak into that place or be in that place, like Stage said. So you have to be okay with it, but it does hurt, because especially if you're a loving person, it can hurt. But just know that God is never going to let you be lonely and let you be without, you know, great, valuable relationships. So.
For me, a lot of my relationships have grown a lot deeper and a lot richer, just because I'm happier, you know. So I think when you're happy, it makes the relationships around you. I think I've also inspired some really close people. Like, I have one friend that's quitting her job to become a full-time missionary. I have a couple of friends that have quit their jobs to pursue their businesses and their dreams. So that's been amazing. Yeah, I mean, in the love arena, that, you know, who wants to move to Africa? Like, you live where? Well, when are you coming back? Maybe holler when you come back. Well, I don't know when I'm coming back. I might not be coming back. All right then. So, you know, I mean, that part has been a little interesting. I feel like there came a choice when I was in a relationship with a guy where I had to choose between my dreams in Africa and him. I'm in Africa and single, so obvious the choice. And, you know, I would have been miserable, you know, and he said that to me, like, if you give up your dreams for me, you're going to resent me, you're going to hate me, and we're not going to be happy. So this is just not going to work, you know, so God is good, again.
Okay, so we have 2 more questions, unless you guys have questions that you want to submit onto Periscope. But we have 2 more that I have. The next question, which I personally wrestle with a lot, and I've heard other people, do you think that your purpose and your career should align? Should they be separate? Are they one and the same? How does that work? Does that make sense?
I think ultimately the everybody's ultimate desire is for it to align, for it to be your purpose and your career are one and the same. Sometimes when you're first starting out your purpose, it can't be that way, depending on your economic situation and your livelihood. So sometimes you have to allow other streams of income to fund the purpose. And it's okay, like even Jesus, he was a carpenter, but that wasn't his ultimate purpose. So it's like sometimes you have to allow your skills and your trades to fund your purpose until your purpose can fund your lifestyle. And don't beat yourself up about it if you're not full-time purpose yet. Allow God to show you how to become full-time purpose. But of course, everybody wants their purpose to be there every day, all day, because it's what gives you the most fulfillment. So that's the ultimate goal. But if you have to transition in some kind of way, don't beat yourself up about it. Just trust God and allow Him to transition you until you can be full-time purpose, and let that job fund your purpose. So yeah.
I would also add, work ethic is important, is extremely important. There are a lot of people who want to pursue a particular passion or a particular dream, but quite frankly, they don't work hard enough. And so I feel like if you're in a place where you're, maybe you're married or maybe you're single and you're taking care of yourself, then you just gonna have to dream with your eyes open at night. You're gonna have to work that 9 to 5. When you get home, you can't sleep. You have to work on your dream and your passion and your vision, and not to the point to where you're stressed out and dying because you're not taking care of yourself. But you have to grind as hard on what you know that you want and what you know that God has for you as you would for somebody. You're working for somebody else's dream. They got their dream, you working for them. And then you wake up in 10 years and you're like, well, why didn't mine happen? Because you ain't work on it. And I'm not mad about it. I'm just
Passion.
yeah, that's my passion. So the way I articulate that idea is I dream with my eyes open. You know what I mean? I don't dream sleeping at night. I dream writing at night. My dream is to transition into educational consultancy and writing. And because I work as a kindergarten teacher during the day, at night I can't come home and watch TV. I don't even own a TV. At night I can't just go out all the time with my friends. My friends, even in Abu Dhabi, the most amazing city in the world, will tell you Anastasia be at home. And what you doing? She writing. Don't invite her because I'm writing because I got to get a book out next year. I'm trying to catch up to flies. I got 3, so just 10. So challenge is just you got to dream with your eyes open. Sometimes don't sleep. Don't watch TV. Don't go out sometimes. You got to sacrifice and dream your dream with your eyes open and with your feet to the ground.
I mean, ultimately, I believe that we all need to be doing what we were born to do. And I don't think you can be happy doing otherwise. I think life just becomes this miserable drudgery if every day you're at work just because of the mortgage or the bills or the student loans. That is miserable. There's nothing beautiful about that. And I realize that so much more now, being able to wake up every morning just like, oh, I'm alive, I mean, when you're not doing what you love, you don't wake up, you wake up like, dang, I'm at work, I remember that. I remember trying to think of excuses to not have to go to work and creating excuses not to have to go to work. And so I think the best way to live, the most alive way to live, the most life on top way to live is doing what you love. But when I'm teaching people purpose and destiny and how to chase after your purpose and destiny, I always say you have a plan. Work hard. I was at one point a doctor, going to ministry school, and then marketing and writing books. And just like you said, I don't watch TV. I didn't during those periods hang out with friends as much as I wanted to. There's no idle time. If anybody ever says to me, I'm bored, I just want to punch them in the face. What do you mean you're bored? What do you mean? And when people are posting all these, comments from television shows, that's why you go to work every day at a job you hate, because you're watching TV.
It is.
I'm sorry. I'm serious. Stop watching TV. Stop watching TV. Stop watching reality TV and create your own life.
Come on.
And so if you want to live a beautiful, amazing, passionate life, turn off the TV, get off Facebook, just do something. You gotta make it happen. Oops, right now.
That was
Okay. That's so amazing. So the last question that I have, again, if you have questions, feel free to type them in real quick. The last question that I have is, how do you pay it forward, helping other people live their lives on top? If you do. I'm sure you do. So.
How do we help other people?
How do you pay it forward? Like, with the knowledge that you have, the life that you have, how do you pay it forward and help other people get to that place? Personally, like, how have you?
Oh, how have we?
How do you? Either one.
I guess for me, like I was saying earlier, I just stay an open book. I don't fear another person's taking my spot. We have this thing where it's like, I can't tell you how to write a book or how I publish my book, because then you might. Like, no, that's not God. That's not kingdom. That's not even the way Jesus thinks. Like, your book is going to impact the kingdom, and that's the goal. So when that's the goal, I need you to get your book out. So I don't care about my book in that moment, because it's not about me. And so you have to stay an open resource to people, and that's what I'm not perfect at it, but I really try my best to stay an open resource for people, so that if it's rather a question or whatever I can do, because ultimately the mission is, for me, is Jesus. And so if it's to get the love of Christ out around the world, she has something that I can't do, but that's necessary. You have something that I can't do that's necessary, and so does Sherri. So it's like, we're one body, and I need the toe to function. Like, I need my big toe to function, and if I'm the thumb, I'm counting on my big toe so I can walk. And so we're one body, and when we look at it from that perspective, there's no competition. And so I think that's one way you help other people pay it forward, is you stay open resource to them. You may not have the information, you may know somebody who does, or you might know this about that, or you could connect this person with that person. Just allow God to use you as a vessel to be a blessing to others as much as you can. And so that's my quick response.
And I'll say, for me, I had to, so in order for me to be an open resource to people and to start sharing my story, I had to let go of like false humility. Like, it is pretty freaking amazing that I live in Abu Dhabi. You know what I mean? It's amazing. And so when people start telling me, in the beginning they were telling me it was amazing, and I'm like, you know, I teach kindergarten. You know, it's pretty normal. But then I had to think about it, like, dang, you know, how many little kinky haired black girls, you know what I mean, are living across the seas? There are a lot of us, but there are many, many more of us that aren't. And so I had to start telling people just how amazing it is, not to boast, but to inspire them to go and do and be. And the more that I've just started saying, like, hey guys, this is what I'm doing, and you can do it too, I'm already starting to see people like, you know what, just like you said, you know what, I'm quitting. I'm about to go do this. And maybe my calling isn't to be a kindergarten teacher. Maybe my calling is to, you know, write a book. Or maybe my calling is to just travel and see the world and try to see the world through the eyes of Christ. Or maybe my calling is to do whatever. But the more I stop being, you know, fake humble, like, oh, you know, it's okay. You know, the Lord is blessed. And, you know, really just telling people what it is. Like, yo, I wake up every morning like, I live on the beach, like, I'm winning. And it took me being obedient to God to win. The more people I'm beginning to see choose to win. And so I feel like you got to tell your story. And of course you give glory to God, but if it's amazing, let it be amazing. And let that inspire people to chase after amazing as well.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, for me, it's what I do. It's the whole purpose of our school. Our school is to fill people up with God and then launch them into their purpose and destiny. And so, because it's been my life, because it's been my experience of being miserable as a doctor for 15 years and just hating waking up every day, and then being launched into this amazing life where I wake up singing and full of joy every day. Every person I meet, I try to impart that to. Whether it's just living passionately and people saying, oh my God, I should do something different with my life. Or whether it's my kids that I teach and I pour everything that I am into them and just love them and tell them you're amazing, you can do anything. Just meeting people. I love to give people prophetic words and say, this is what God has said about you. This is what God is saying about you. Go for it. So just everyone, I love to love. I love to love people. I love to give to people. I love to inspire people. I love to lay hands on people and just say, hey, you're amazing. Live your best life possible. I love to teach about purpose and destiny. Teach about intimacy with God. I mean, my whole life is, you should have the most amazing life, and this is how you do it. And I live for that and breathe that every single day.
Yes. Okay, so we did get a question, and it's kind of deep. So hopefully y'all got it, because I don't. She said, "Do you feel like God has more than one calling for a person?" Go ahead, Sherri.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm just getting started, you know? I'm just getting started. And I feel like everything that I've done, it took me taking that first step into it before God opened the door. And then as I take more risks and trust Him more, He opens up another idea and another realm and another thing. And it just expands and grows and becomes so multifaceted and so amazing. But I think if you're just sitting on your job thinking about something every day, sitting in front of the television thinking about something every day, I'm not going to say He doesn't take you seriously, but if you're not taking your dream seriously, He's not going to take it seriously. And so once you launch into something, it just starts to multiply and expand and just become a whole nother thing. And so I know that I'm multifaceted and multi-talented, and I would be bored just doing one thing. And so it's just, it's amazing just being able to see the doors open in so many different directions. So I don't believe, there's some people that there's one thing that you're good at, one thing that you're called to do, and you're going to faithfully do that the rest of your life. And then other people, it's just like, oh my God, what are we going to do next?
Yeah. So I've been studying that lately because I've always been told that I do too much. And I remember people used to tell me that, and for a while I stopped doing one of my main passions, which was music. Like this year I took off from music. I didn't record a song, I didn't do anything. And God dealt with me on that thing, and He was just like, "Did I tell you to stop doing that?" And I was like, "No, but everybody said you got to master one thing." And I was like, I was getting into this whole philosophy of society, and He's like, "I didn't tell you that." And then God had really reminded me of Proverbs 31 woman. She did everything. She definitely did. And she was, and because God put all those things in her, and so God put music in me, He put writing in me, He put speaking in me, He put nonprofit in me, He put comic book in me, He put everything in me because He wanted it to be in the earth. And so God doesn't do one thing, and in Him I'm one. So I don't have to limit myself to just one thing. And like Sherri said, there are some people that are just called to one thing. And I'm not saying launch everything in 1 month. There's wisdom in how to roll out situations. But at the same time, don't keep yourself in a box either that I have to do this just one thing. And my ultimate purpose is to inspire people. And I told God when I first got saved, because before I got saved, I did it up for everything that wasn't godly. And I told God, every gift you've given me, I'm going to use for your glory. Because you gave me the talent for a reason. Does that mean that I'm going to take this talent and it's crazy. Like, I might be something simple as knowing how to flip. And one day I might flip around some teenagers and that minister to some girl, and she'll come up to me and want to talk to me about that. And it's the simple things. It's like just a simple skill of being able to do something. God can use it. So I'm a firm believer in use all your gifts and all your skills to minister or to do what God called you to do, and don't be limited by what people's limits. Like, oh no, you need to just do one thing. Maybe you don't, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Amen.
You had one question from, I believe, Kim Cox. She asks, do you do what you love, and is it your calling?
Do you do what you love, and is it your calling? And I think she joined a little late, so she definitely didn't hear your stories, but you guys can answer.
I'm going to answer this question based off of how I'm understanding it. Right now, I'm definitely doing what I love, and it is my calling. I know that I won't be teaching little kindergarten students forever, but every day I wake up and I see the little faces and they're learning how to read and write and tie their shoes, and it's really exciting. At the same time, I'm studying the entire system of education, and God is dealing with me on what that can look like in a kingdom setting, and that's exciting as well. And like managing that tension of like being fully present for these children, but also prepping in my mind for what I know is to come is a bit frustrating, but I think I'm learning how to balance it. But I definitely know that I love what I do, and everybody in this room, well, these three can attest that that was not the case for teaching, like for a long time. But now I'm in a place where I love what I do, I'm excited about what I do, and I know it's the call of God in my life. But the call and the love, for me, the love came after the call. It definitely came after the call. But I'm happy that I've arrived to this point, and ironically, I feel like God is now shifting me out. Now that I'm like, okay, Lord, I'll do it with all my heart now. And now he's like, good, shroom on.
I mean, it goes back again to God is a good God. And so when he created you, he knew you before any of you, he knows your inward parts. Before you were in your mother's womb, he knew everything about you. So he knows what you love. He knows what he put in you to be able to fulfill your purpose and destiny. And so God wants us happy. He wants us fulfilled. He wants us so happy and so fulfilled every single day. So to me, doing what you love and doing what you're called to do are synonymous, because why would God call you to do something that you don't love? He's a good father. He wants you happy. And so whatever he calls you to do is going to be the most amazing thing that you're passionate about, that you're in love with, that you're happy doing every single day, because he's good. I mean, why would we want to serve him if we're like miserable every single day? No, he wants us passionate. He wants us on fire. He knows he can get the most out of us. Not that he's trying to use us, but he knows that we're going to be maximally productive and maximally effective when we're happy and when we're passionate. And so it's just wisdom of a creator to say, hey, let me put in her the ability to teach, the ability to sing, a love for people, passionate about writing and all these things. We put all these things inside of her, and then let me let her do it. Like, why would he put us in jail? Like, you love this, but I'm going to call you to do this. He's smarter than that, and he's more good than that.
Yeah.
He's more loving than that. And so I believe that whatever you're called to do, you're automatically going to love, because that's the kind of God he is. He's the kind of God that wants us passionately in love with life every single day.
I just want to, I know I spoke already, but I just want to add really quickly that, if your relationship with the Lord is in a place to where you hear him and, he speaks to you, like, sometimes he will call you to do some things that you think you won't like. You know what I mean? Or it's just like, I've never imagined myself doing that. Or if you're like me, you'll say, well, I feel like that's idiotic. Like, I'm not interested in that. And you don't even know. Like, God knows us much better than we know ourselves. So while I was sitting fighting, thinking like, I'm going to hate this, I don't want to do this, now 5 years later, I'm like, dang, I should have been doing this the whole time. And I had no idea even what was in me. So it's important for us to not look for misery, because that's not the nature of the Lord, but to trust that if he puts you in a place that is a little bit uncomfortable, that it is a good place. And if we surrender to that, if we say okay, and really just kind of, again, fully apply ourselves and be fully present in whatever God has called us in, it will end up being a good thing. And I can definitely attest to something that looked absolutely asinine being the best decision I've ever made in my life, because I chose to obey God.
Yeah, and I think for me, I remember my third question. I was talking about my book Residue earlier, and I was saying in a chapter where I talk about purpose, I was saying 3 questions that can help people discover their purpose. One was, what would you do if money was an option? What would you wake up and do every day? And the second one was, the one that I forgot was definitely, what comes easy for you is natural. Like Sherri talked earlier about passion, and the reason why certain things come easy to you, because it's like, that's the thing you're passionate about. Like, I'm passionate about music. Like, I love it. I'm passionate about speaking. I could speak all day. When somebody needs me, like if somebody calls me, they're down, it's almost like that just lifted me up. Oh, let me go ahead and go in. Like, let me encourage you, girl. You go in. Like, I love that. I get up for that. Like, it's like, I can be discouraged. Yeah. But if somebody call me discouraged, I get mad. Like, no, girl, be encouraged. Y'all like, you be encouraged. I get encouraged encouraging other people. And so whatever comes easy to you sometimes, and you may not be like, oh, Anastasia can write, and I'm like, girl, go write. Like, you do it well. You write well. Like, I'm like, that's what God gave. Everybody can write. Like, I can write books, but I have to have an editor, because that's just not my gift. Like, far as correcting grammar and educate, like, I'm not that great in that area, but I can write a vision, I can write a story, because I can encourage people. But whatever it comes natural for you, do it. Like, God gives us the desires of our heart, and you don't know why you like doing something or why you're good at it. Like, some people just come out the womb, they just can do certain things, and it's like, why can't you do that? God is not a coincident God. Like, he knew when he created you. Like the Bible says, we were formed Like he formed us. If he formed us, he get, like Sherri said, he gave us a little bit of this and a little bit of that, a little bit of that for a purpose. And so use it. Use your strength. Like stop saying, oh man, I could. Every time I sing, people go into the spirit of God. I mean the presence of God. Why aren't you singing? Like that's a gift. Like everybody can't do it. If I sing, you're gonna run from the presence of God. That's not my grace. You know what I'm saying? And so know what your grace to do. Sherri's grace to lead a school and inspire people to walk into their purpose. Anastasia is grace to change education. Tasha's grace to provoke thoughts in people through her writings. Like that's what you do. You can just do it. Like, and so whatever comes natural for you, easy for you, is a God-given thing. And don't run from your God-given talent. And so a lot of times you try to run from that to pick a career that looks great. Like, oh, that looks great if I did that. But no, what comes easy and natural for you? Do that thing.
And I just wanted to add, knowing all three of these women's stories, they didn't start out where they are, which is obvious. But I think sometimes we get a picture like, okay, Sherri's this missionary in Cameroon and she has a school with all that, and they just bought a new building, but she didn't start out with the amount of people that she has now. I know for a fact Anastasia didn't start out at Abu Dhabi. Like, I know where Anastasia started teaching, and where she is now is not where she started, but it's a journey, and you have to take time to get to a place. And I think sometimes we get frustrated. It's like, well, God, I don't want to be in this little room with 5 people and those are the only people I'm speaking to. And it's like, well, okay, maybe in 5 years you'll be speaking to 5,000 people, but you need to talk to these 5 right now. And so I just wanted to add that. Cultivating Carrie had a question. How do you balance your health and wellness with your purpose?
Right now, this year for me was a very tough year. I haven't even really told it all, but I was hit a lot this year with sickness. And so, and I think this year God needed me to rest more because I was working so hard that I wasn't taking care of my body. And so I got sick a lot this year, and some diagnosis and hospitalizations, a lot happened, and a lot of people didn't even know. So I had to change my health and wellness. And so like I don't eat chicken anymore. Like even before I got here, I sauteed me some zucchini and like mushrooms and like carrots and salmon. Like I eat totally different. I took my vitamin C before I came, my vitamin D before I came. Like I'm like really into that, because one thing I don't want to do is neglect total life prosperity, because prosperity is just not, you know, money or just not living in your career. It's wholeness, and I can't go out and be a blessing to people if I'm dying. And so you have to take care of your health, and you have to understand that God wants us to be healed because he's a good God. And so because he's a good God, he wants me to be whole in every area of life. And so I had to become educated on what my body's supposed to digest and what is not. You know, and you have to learn your body. And so now I'm more conscious of making sure that I put inside my body what I need to stay strong in order to continue to do purpose. And getting the right amount of rest, knowing how hard is too hard to work, because I didn't know that limit, and that could be dangerous too. And so knowing, hey, I need to go sit down somewhere and just not do nothing right now, and that's okay. And God's not gonna be mad at me because I took a moment, you know.
Yeah, so earlier this year I became a vegetarian. I did backslide for Christmas. I ate my dad's ham, but but yeah, for really I just felt like that was something that I needed to do. I felt like it was important for me to take to pay more attention into my health, especially with food in Abu Dhabi is different than in America. It's not pumped with like all of the hormones, it's just different. And so because I know like what is happening here, I decided to take my body and my health more seriously, and I became a vegetarian, and I'm transitioning. My goal is to be totally vegan by the time I'm 30 years old. That gives me 3 years. But I don't know, for me it's mainly what I eat. I don't really exercise. You should exercise, I should as well. But I do pay attention to what I eat. I don't really eat sweets anymore. I don't really eat meat at all, except for my dad's ham, which is amazing. And I don't eat a lot of processed foods at all. If it doesn't like grow, or if I haven't cooked it, I typically don't eat it. Because I want to live. I don't have any children. I'd like to see them and my grands. So that's what I do.
Yeah. For me, especially being a missionary, I've had to learn, and am yet learning, how not to give all of me away to everyone else. Because when you go into an underdeveloped, I hate those terms, underdeveloped and third world.
Yeah.
you know, when you go into a place where people are living in poverty, there's so many needs, and you can get so overwhelmed with the needs that you forget about yourself. And so God is teaching me that balance of self-care. I'm a type A personality, very purpose-driven, very let's get it done, let's complete this, let's make this happen. And so he's really teaching me, hey, you got to come first. You got to take care of yourself. You got to sleep right. You know, you got to eat right. You got to exercise. You got to do all of this stuff. And so I'm learning the balance of not giving everything away and having enough left to take care of myself. So
I'll also add, I love to have fun, and I prioritize my fun. I don't prioritize television because that's wasteful, but I do prioritize fun and doing things that are enjoyable, traveling, spending time with friends. I love cracking jokes, playing games, and I feel like it's important to laugh and have a good time. Otherwise, you will perish trying to pursue your purpose. You're never, even if your purpose is fun, it can be work and tiring. There's a sacrifice involved in doing anything for Jesus, and so I love it when he does something for me that is funny, or that I have an experience that is, you know, enjoyable outside of what I'm doing. Yvette, a mutual friend of ours, Yvette, always says that Jesus gives her roses with like these little things that he does throughout the day. And for me, laughter is one of those roses that he gives to me throughout the day.
Another one, the Bible talks about in 3 John how we're supposed to prosper as our soul prospers. And so another thing is, even when you're doing purpose, don't take on the worry or the burden of it. Because when you sometimes, especially with working with people, you want to help so many people. Like I get text messages and direct messages online of people that are losing their homes, and I get some heavy stuff sometimes, and I don't know what's going on with me, but every woman and young girl I encounter, not every, but a lot of them that have been through this like to confess rape and molestation to me. And so I'm constantly getting information that's heavy. And so I'm learning right now how to take that heaviness and give it directly to Jesus, because I can't carry it, you know. And I, for a while I was carrying it, and the stress of that was also affecting my health, because I'm taking so much home. If I can't stop a parent from losing their home, and one of their girls are in my program, I carried that. And so I had to say, you know what, Jesus, you're their source. You're the ultimate source. You're my source. So I'm just a vessel. And so I'm gonna pray for them, because I can't help everybody. And sometimes just the stress of wanting to do the purpose at such a level can cause you also to not be healthy. And so you gotta constantly feed your soul the word of God also, because that's how your soul prospers, to fill yourself back up. Because you're not, you'll be giving from an empty spirit. And I just believe that dis-ease in the mind causes dis-ease in the body. And so like I had to learn that too. Like I was getting sick this year because I wasn't at ease here. I wasn't at peace here. And that causes more sickness than anything stress does. So that's another thing. Release. Like laugh, go do something crazy, silly, run in the snow, I don't care. Like take a moment just to like not carry the burden of your purpose so much, especially when you're serving people. So
Yes, so that was so amazing. I believe Periscope records these videos, and you can go on if you missed the beginning. I'm just really, really, really grateful for these 3 women, and it was great for me. So if nothing else, I was so moved and inspired and helped by this. One last time, I'm going to let you guys give your name and your website, and then I'm going to close with something to close.
Okay. So Sherri Lewis, 2 websites, www.sherrilewis.com, and the other one is bacameroon.com.
Anastasia Franchesca, you can find me at anastasiafranchesca.com.
Fly Music, you can find me at flymusic.com, and also flyspirit.org.
So, my name is Ifie Natasha Brandon, and Life on Top is something I created because I was just sick and tired of seeing people live their lives and they hated them. And I was sick and tired of living my life, and I hated getting up every day. I hated going to work. I hated going to a life that I didn't enjoy. And so, I created Life on Top, which is an organization, but we also have life groups, and we meet twice a month. And what we do is we're a group of women, we get together and we talk about our fears and we talk about our lives, but we don't talk about them for the sake of talking about them. We talk about them to conquer them, to dispel the lies that we believed our entire lives sometimes. And if you go on thelifeontop.com, you can sign up for life groups. If you're in the Atlanta area, even if you're not in Atlanta, we can Skype you in and figure it out. But I just really desire for everybody on earth to live their lives in abundance, because that's what Jesus came for. Like, that is what God created us for, not to live a life that we hate. He doesn't desire that for us. And so if you go to thelifeontop.com, we have life groups. We're going to get together and we're going to conquer our fears. We're going to chase passion and purpose. And my desire is that we all live our lives on top. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I enjoyed it. And if you have any other questions or anything, you can go to thelifeontop.com. And I'm very grateful for these three ladies. Go to their websites. They have books. They have writings. They're all amazing. She does curriculum. Just go to their websites. They do amazing things. So I love you guys and thank you so much.
Yeah.